William, thanks for joining us today on the Pet Buzz.
Dr. Fleck, Charlotte, thank you for having me.
So, William, with the surge of pet ownership during the pandemic, are there and will there be more pet and related companies looking for employees with animal and pet experience in the next few years?
Well, they've always looked for, as someone that has a passion for animals or is comfortable working around animals. But as the pet industry has grown, you really have found that someone with a passion for animals or a pet parent or person who has a passion for animals is really often ideal. And that is kind of what employers are seeking, particularly in one-on-one animal positions or jobs.
Talk to us a little bit about EmployeePet.com. What prompted you to found it and what is it?
Well, EmployeePet.com is basically a job board. So it's a pet version of a Monster.com or an Indeed.com or any other job boards, but it's primarily geared at the pet industry, and that could be anything from animal or veterinary assistant to dog groomer, or really any position within that realm of the, there's the metaverse, I call it the pet-averse. It's just all encompassing in that industry.
What prompted you to found it?
Well, I have a lot of clients that I work with in our ad agency where we specialize in working with pet businesses, often small to mid-sized pet businesses. And the biggest issue they have is finding someone that is dependable, that really understands the seriousness of working with a living creature or an animal. There are people who I think that look at pet sitting perhaps as a kind of an easy job to do, or you could do it part-time or on the side, but they forget about things like administering medications if necessary, safety issues, making sure that dogs don't get out. I mean, just a number of things that really, when you have someone at the core who is really passionate about pets, even if they don't have the skills, the job is there to either connect them with an employer that will provide that training or a resource to provide that training.
Is the trend in industry employment websites, are they here to stay?
I think so. I think that, I've seen a lot of websites, job boards that are industry specific. And I think that there are some things about the pet industry, as we call it, that are unique even to other industries. There are so many different things to take into consideration, and all of the safety issues and breeds and how they react and all of these things. So it niches it down to even tighter segment, and I think that that's where you'll see other industries, of course, do the same thing. But I think that there is such a unique aspect to the pet industry overall that it in and itself will drive probably more than one job board like this.
Currently, I think, what are the type of jobs that you might be offering on EmployeePet.com, and what do you think it's going to ascend to in the future?
Well, generally the idea is for an employer anywhere in the United States to post a job listing that's available on the site in their category. And then, it's a tricky thing when you're launching something like this, because you need employers and you need candidates, and you have to get them there at the same time. And it's a big country. So what we have been basically doing is, as the site has grown and launched, so if someone posts a dog grooming availability in Nashville, Tennessee, we will follow that with a digital billboard campaign, point our Google paid ads in that direction, and try to just boost that area and do that one area at a time. So right now, though, we have groomers, training apprentice, a number of different positions that are available in different parts of the country, and it's getting new ones every day.
Sure. Are you hoping, I guess, in the next few years to attract more sales manager type jobs? Not just on the service industry, but, sales and marketing, social media type jobs?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we have those categories there. Mm-hmm. And that is something that we would like to, manufacturing and distribution, product, inside and outside sales representatives, any number of things, point of sale systems that are dedicated to, the pet industry, so to speak. I mean, there's so many things that Things aren't always built for, the pet industry, so to speak. You can get something off the rack, but it has to be modified, like a point of sale system for a retail shop. It may not have the fields that you need for, what type of pet, small dog, big dog, medium dog, all of those things. So, those things are out there. So we'd like to try to match those, software companies and other things with the right candidate.
What do you offer the two groups? I mean, I know from doing research for this interview, a lot of people are talking about on some of these websites, they're going to start having videos that employees and employers can put on, like introduction to the company and things like that, or an introduction other than just filling out the forms and looking at the resume. Are you guys planning on doing that as well over the next?
We are, and part of the yes, exactly that. I mean, we've continued as the site has gone to take input from employers and add new features like galleries and cover images and other things, video links, and we'll continue to do that. And of course, it's free for any candidate to search for a position. But the main thing that we really look forward to adding are resources that someone can access, a candidate can access to actually find an end to a career. If it's not someone that's willing to perhaps train as an apprentice, maybe it's a grooming salon that's willing to pay for a grooming certification, and we would have partnerships with some of the grooming schools or pet sitter courses and different things to give them resources to how do I get as a candidate, how do I get into this position? I think that's one of the hardest things. And one of the fun things I've seen in our Google ad campaigns and looking at what people are searching, it's how do I become a pet sitter? How do I become a dog groomer? You can't just become a dog groomer tomorrow if you've never done it before. So trying to find, I could try, but I wouldn't do very good at it. But the idea being to provide not just connection between candidates and employers, but also resources for candidates to get into those fields.
So if any of our listeners are looking for a job, call me. But just give a few tips for potential job applicants.
Well, I think it's important to understand what kind of position, it is, and do a little bit of research. If it's a bather in a grooming shop, if it's pet sitting, if it's a kennel assistant, understand what those things are and what those things entail, and make sure that you have the right skill set and capabilities for that. A kennel manager, that's going to be a loud environment. It's not just one dog, not one-on-one. You're probably going to be dealing with a number of them. It sometimes can get, dirty in the sense that you have to clean up a lot.
Clean up a lot
and that's something that people don't think about often. So it's a matter, and even in the veterinary field, Dr. Fleck, I'm sure you'd agree. There's, there can be some things that happen that maybe people aren't comfortable with seeing if they're not used to that type of thing, or they need to become accustomed to seeing a procedure or something along those lines. So, investigate what the position is and understand the company, and then understand your skill set before you and then explain how you feel you can be that fit.
It's put out there and maybe make people think that they might be interested in something like that.
Sure.
Because my recollection is 3 or 4 years ago, we'd put an ad out and within 12 hours, we'd have 60 applicants. Now we put an ad out and we go weeks without getting even one applicant.
People are going to follow their passion right now. That's what's happening. So, you're going to see less of the mass resume submissions that we saw a few years ago.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Really, really relevant.
Thank you, Dr. Fleck. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you. Nice to meet both of you.
Thanks for viewing our content on Pet Buzz Plus.